Hello, everyone out there, and welcome back to the Art of Attraction with Dominey Drew. So glad that you joined us today. We have a fantastic show for you today. We're going to be talking about how you can get stuck in the friend zone. Such an unfortunate place to be. And we at Dominey Drew Coaching, we talk a lot about. We have a lot of clients come to us who are stuck, in the friend zone and really have no idea what to do about it, and it can be such a frustrating place, especially if, you're friends with someone that you really have genuine interest in. So, again, my name is Dominey Drew. I am a men's relationship coach. I help single men attract life partners through personal and relationship coaching. And it's incredibly powerful work. I absolutely love it. I've been doing it for about 15 years. My microphone's falling into my tea here a little bit. That's always good for concentration. So I help single men attract life partners through personal and relationship coaching. I'm coming to you now on Facebook Live. This is my fantastic radio show. I like to get on here every week and teach about what our clients are going through right now and what they tend to be struggling with. And so what we do is we help them. The work that we do is less about matchmaking or tips and tricks for dating, and really more about the inner work. So what inner beliefs might you be carrying that are really sabotaging, right? If you have a major fear of rejection, there may be some self-worth things, and when you address those self-worth things, then all of a sudden you find yourself effortlessly going up to women that you're attracted to, and it's a huge shift. So if you'd like to find out more, please check us out. I'm on Facebook. Dominey Drew Coaching, Consulting, and Speaking is my business page. These episodes are always posted on my business page and are also on YouTube. So if you found us on YouTube, then please go ahead and subscribe. And what else? Facebook. And we're on Facebook Live now. So, feel free to give us a call. You're welcome to call in during the episode if you have comments or questions or anything like that, and we'll be happy to answer them. So today, I'm very excited to introduce the first non-Dominey member of the Art of Attraction team, which is Caitlin Wright, who has joined my team recently, and I'm super excited to have her on board. Thank you so much.
I'm super excited to be here. See how long she can handle me.
Yep, we're gonna find that out. It's gonna be great. So Caitlin is part of your dedicated Art of Attraction team. She's been going through the course herself. Actually, the way that we work with clients is we have an 8-week training program that really takes you all the way from I have no idea why I'm single, teaches you the exact techniques that I learned that I've really used and enacted in my life to create just massive transformation. So a really sort of powerful work of showing you why it is that you're single. By the end of 8 weeks, you know exactly why you're single, and you know exactly what to do to attract that significant relationship into your life. So through that 8 weeks, Caitlin's been going through that program herself. And have you noticed anything? I know you've only been in it for a few weeks, but have you noticed anything that's significant here?
Yes, I'm about 3 weeks in now, and I'm more aware of so many things that I do that I was not aware of before, like shoulding. How we talked about shoulding, and I like the way it sounds.
It sounds pretty funny. She's saying the word shoulding. Mm-hmm. But I always just think, people are just shoulding all over each other and all over themselves, and it's never good. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
I know. I find myself shoulding a lot.
Yes.
And I it's not great.
It's not great.
It's not great. It's not coming from within. It's coming from somewhere else. That's maybe not your voice speaking in your head. That may be someone else's voice, like my mom, or maybe maybe a family member or an adult that you looked up to. You hear those shoulds in your head. Oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. So that's one thing that really hung with me, that really stuck with me. I'm more aware, and I try really hard not to should.
Yeah.
Not to should everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredibly powerful. Shoulding there's a whole episode on, and it's incredibly powerful, and we tend to kind of take these voices on, and they show up as these shoulds in our subconscious, and they're incredibly limiting. It's finding limiting beliefs. It's the same, it's the same work, but the amount of transformation that you have when you do it well, when you really go deep and sort of dig for that authenticity, then powerful shifts take place. Anything else that's been sort of significant for you that you've gotten from the course?
Well, my wounding. I recently have, talking with Dominey and working with her. Well, one of the woundings, I've met one of my woundings. Probably there's many, but the one that's really affecting me the most seems to be that very early childhood wounding, and it's caused me to have horrible anxiety for most of my life, and now at least I know where it stems from, and I'm aware of it. And when I start to feel that way, I really pay attention to my body, and I'm starting to be more aware, and I'm feeling more relief than anxiety. It's relieving to know where this stems from, and that I'm not totally broken, and it's fixable. It's an easy thing to become more aware of.
Yes.
I feel like.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. That's a huge shift from feeling anxiety all the time to starting to not feel anxiety. I don't know if any of you have ever felt anxiety, but that is a massive transformation. I had a lot of that when I was young, just anxiety and depression and just everything you could have. I had it, and I said something the day that caused you to just sort of stare at me blankly in my face, that I thought was really significant because it was the same reaction I got from two different people. And what I shared was that that voice that you carry, that voice that you carry around in your head, that's always telling you something. It's always judging you, or it's judging other people, or it's being bitchy, or it's being a downer, like all these sorts of things. And it's really, really getting in there, and and it's just at you all the time. So mine, and I've done this work for some years now, mine's gone. I don't have it anymore. And it was bad. Oh, she was so mean. I was never good enough. Nothing was ever good enough. I couldn't let myself rest or take care of myself, because that voice would just, start going again. It was wild.
Did it should you?
It shoulded me all over the place. I was shoulding all over myself. It's terrible. Okay, so I'm going to just check that I'm coming through here okay, because I look like I might have some. I may not be recording, and I would like to be recording. So if you can just excuse us for just a second here.
Excuse me, some technical difficulties.
Looking for the input. Why can't I find the input? I think everyone who knows this about me is this is not my technology is not my strong suit. No, it's really not. I'm just going to stop this and start it again. Here we go. Yep, that's where it is, built in. Okay. Let's see if that's picking up. Okay, that was better.
That was better. Okay.
Okay. Sorry here, guys.
We're good now.
All right, so we made it better. Okay. We're fine. Okay, so what I really would like to speak about today, Caitlin, if you don't mind helping me out here, is so we take people who, particularly men, we work with men who are really struggling in the dating scene. They're usually they're perpetually single and they have no idea why, okay? Or they're repeatedly attracting the same relationship over and over again and have no idea why. So what we do, as I said, is you learn the exact techniques that I learned to find out exactly what's keeping you single and then overcome it, right? So one of the complaints that we get from people a fair amount, actually, is getting stuck in the friend zone. And they have no idea how to move from friends into relationship. And as soon as I broached this topic, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's happened to me." So this is a really, it's a really common thing. So how do you know that if this is you, right? So you might have trouble. It's like you might be a redneck if you might have trouble getting out of the friend zone if you've got a woman in your life that you, or men. This is all the same stuff, but if you have trouble letting her know that you're interested, right? You can approach people okay. You're all right speaking to women. You're okay finding things to talk about. But then when it's time to ask her out, then you kind of freeze up, right? Or you start getting anxious, or you can't think of anything to say, or you're so worried about losing the friendship that you really just don't say anything at all, okay? And you kind of sit there, and I have a lot of men call me who are in this position of like, oh, there's somebody I like, and I'm too afraid to really do anything about it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you guys have questions about that, the number is on the Facebook Live, okay? It's 708-793-7769. And again, if you want to call in with your comments and questions, 708-793-7769. Okay. So the first thing I want to just kind of clarify, and then I want to go right into like what the problem might be here, is how this is different from approach anxiety. Approach anxiety is when you've got, usually it's due to low self-confidence or anxiety or overthinking, okay? So you see someone you're attracted to, right? It happens like a step earlier. Like one of the questions we ask on our strategy sessions, which is where we establish whether or not a client is a good fit to work with us, is we ask them, at what point in the process, okay? At what point in the dating process are you getting tripped up, right? So some people will be like, oh, well, I have no problem speaking to women. I'm confident, I'm fine, and I get into relationships fine, but they just don't last. So that would be like the end of like the dating process, if you will, right? And then somebody else will say, oh yeah, like once I'm in, it's fine. It's just going up to that woman and speaking to her, and they're like terrified of that, right? So if it's approach anxiety, then you go in, then before you even access that person, before you even go over there, you're overthinking, okay? You're sweating, you're anxious, your mind's gone blank, you're afraid, right? All of these things keep you from coming up, right? And then the friend zone thing happens a bit later when you've already approached, right? So that could be anywhere from a few minutes in, where you just need help going from, oh, hey, how are you? Little things like that, to, boy, I sure would like to go out with you on a date. So it could be anything from you've known her for a few minutes all the way to, we've been friends for 10 years and I really want to tell her how I feel. So either of those really apply to you. Yeah.
We've all felt it. I mean, I felt it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been friends with someone for years.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to weigh the option. Would the possible relationship we could be in, is that worth it compared to our relationship now, or our friendship? And it's kind of something you have to weigh a little bit, and how much anxiety it causes you. It turns out me and my friend, we were better friends. So we didn't go to the next level, but we spoke about it, and we decided that both of us weren't in the relationship kind of place, and now we're still friends. And so it is kind of nice to
success story,
be able to get through that and still be able to communicate with your friend and tell them how you feel, take their reaction calmly, not personally, and kind of move on from there, whatever way that goes. We decided to be friends, and and now we're great friends. It's been, I don't know, 15 years. Poor thing, can't get rid of me.
Wait a minute. So it's great. So that's, yeah. So there's always going to be a little bit of unknown in that, and I kind of want to go into that first, because a lot of the guys that we speak to, they're like, how do we broach the topic and things like that. The thing is, it's going to be a risk, okay? You value that person as your friend, I assume. Otherwise, there wouldn't be an issue. You would just risk it and not care if you failed. So you care about this friendship. You don't want to sacrifice the friendship, but you do want to tell her that you're interested, right? So there's going to be some risk, okay? There is an element of the unknown in life, and that tends to make humans very uncomfortable, okay? Humans do not like the unknown. But that doesn't make it go away. We just don't like it, okay? It is absolutely an essential part of life. You can't avoid the unknown. It's part of things. It just is. So know that, that there may be a risk, okay? And maybe that's okay. It's possible that she may be really open, or they may, if their Kaylin friendship went back to normal, it's great. They moved through it and were able to grow from that point. So, with the unknown, like there's going to be some risk, but it may be worth it. Other than just waiting, waiting around and finding out. But even more significantly about that is, if you're going to say something to her or to your friend, then don't assume beforehand that you know what the answer is going to be, right? Because you really don't. And that's very important. It's important that you know that you don't. So if you're like, I already know that she's not going to have you asked. Okay.
What if she's feeling the same thing?
Yeah, she may be feeling the same thing. Exactly. And there's a lot of assumptions that are made about women and men in the dating scene and kind of the differences and things like that. There are a lot of women out there who are shy to speak their mind, or that, she may be feeling the exact same thing. As Kaylin says, you may just, she may be too shy to talk to you as well. Okay, fine. So what's the actual problem? So, often what can happen is, if you're struggling with coming out of the friend zone, one of the things that I've found in my about 15 years of doing this work is that people who struggle with this may have some difficulty with their own sexuality, okay? If you're more comfortable being friends, right? If you're more sort of like, relaxed and, this is just, how I, how it sort of goes, then it's possible that you may not, if you're not able to sit sort of comfortably in your own sexuality, then you may not be comfortable approaching someone with that interest, right? And that also may be the case for the other person, for her, right? So it's possible that she may be afraid or uncomfortable with her sexuality and may just be, so that will keep both people in, friend zoning each other, right? And another thing is that people tend to overthink, okay? And this is really related to the fear of rejection, but we talk a lot about how what your sort of natural gifts, or what I call your core qualities, really set the foundation for your life. So if you are naturally very intelligent, what you'll tend to do is when you defend yourself, when you get defensive, you will do what you're naturally good at more, okay? So for example, if you are naturally very intelligent, then you will default to overthinking, okay? So if you, or if you're naturally sort of, you really care about doing a really good job, then you may distort towards like anxiety or worry, okay? Or if you're a little bit sort of cautious or shy or reserved, then you may just go into fear, and fear of rejection, and just not even, go from there. So then the rejection, there may be a fear of rejection, but what that's coming down to is something about you, right? So if you're overthinking, that tends to be more sort of intelligent people. They default to using their brain to figure out this, the situation. Of course, you can't figure out the situation by thinking through it, right? If you see a beautiful woman across the room, you don't have the confidence to go up and speak to her, then that can be a difficult thing to think your way through, to figure out, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it could be a couple of those things, or it could just be awkwardness and an inability to bridge the gap, from a friend to a relationship. Does one of those sound like it was more of that for you than another? Oh, that isn't cool.
Oh, sorry. Probably.
You go wrap your face. Yeah.
Probably afraid of rejection and not wanting to sacrifice that friendship that you hold so dear. I didn't want. In my mind, in my also overthinking probably. I thought, well, it would be it's safer not to say anything, right? Because you feel safer. Although you could miss out on something that was beautiful, and you don't know that until you truly communicate with that person.
Which, by the way, wraps up like all of life.
Yeah, you have to communicate.
And you might be missing out on something better by not exploring and reaching out and moving through it. Yeah.
But at the time with this particular relationship, it just wasn't right. So with proper communication, we didn't get elevated. We weren't upset with each other. We just talked to each other really about our feelings. And that was probably one of the first times that friend zoning felt okay, because we were still friends afterwards and nothing was lost. Maybe a little hope was lost, but in the end, I'm still friends with my my dear friend, and it's been years and years. So
that's great.
I think communication's a key for me.
Oh my gosh, communication's always key. We always come back to that. It's always in some form or another. It's always that's what it comes back down to. So let's talk about how to actually broach the topic. So let's say, and again, feel free to call in if you have specific questions or you have things that you're struggling with in particular. We would be happy to work with that. Keep moving my thing around here. So how do you broach the topic? Okay, so here you are. You've got someone that you are friends with. You value that friendship. You don't want to lose it, right? But you want to, you're feeling the
emotions.
What used to be called feelings. In my teenage years. That brings me back. So yeah, how to get through that position. Okay, so first off, this is always going to come back to self-worth, okay? Even if you totally botch this, the important thing is that you go through it as aware as possible, okay? So it doesn't happen next time, all right? It's less important of whether or not you're actually successful in today's, in your attempts, and more about, learning, evolving as who you are.
I learned quite a bit from that experience.
Did you?
I learned that I have terrible anxiety and that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It's never as bad as you think it's going to be.
It really wasn't.
That is so true.
It was, it only felt hard when I first started talking and communicating. And then once we started talking, we're like, we're friends. Like, what?
Yes.
Well, what's the problem?
Yeah.
So to me, it became easier. And became more confident. I know now that I can do this. I can push through the friend zone if I need to. And I feel like so does he. He's a little bit more confident with it, and he's like, oh, it wasn't so bad. I still got to keep my friend. Might not be in the place that I wanted to be, but I still got to keep my friend, and
she tried.
That was important to me. That was very important.
Yeah, because I think that's really the number one thing that really. That really freaks people out is that they're going to lose the friendship.
Yeah.
So look, for this to work, you both need to be like mature people. Do you know what I mean? Like you need to be able to communicate, and she needs to be able to communicate with you. The important thing to keep in mind is if she's not able to do that, then how would that relationship have gone anyway? If you can't have a conversation with your friend and have her, respond well, or if she throws a fit, and it's like, that's not a relationship it's not an adult relationship. You can't be an adult.
Yeah.
An adult relationship takes two adults, okay? If you are the one who's like, kind of got their shit together and your partner's all the hell over the place, then you're not in a relationship with an adult. That person's not able to meet you emotionally. They're just not able to. They're not able or willing, doesn't matter. They're not, right? So let that take some pressure off of conversations like friend zone, okay? we'll talk about the actual, what to do in just a minute, but keep in mind, if she doesn't say yes, if she's not interested and she goes, no, sorry, I don't feel the same way, that's not you losing the relationship. It was never there, right? If you've gone to your friend and said, hey, I have feelings for you, and he goes, sorry, I don't feel the same way, then that was, that only existed in your head, right? You were only trying to figure out what it is that they're, whether there's potential there for a relationship. And if there wasn't, then there really wasn't, right? Because there was no romantic relationship there before. There was a friendship. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's all I have there.
Yeah. I really liked when you said that if you can't communicate through the friend zone, the relationship, or that possible relationship, is not going to be. It's not going to be what you're really looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, because she didn't want it. Takes two people.
Yeah.
Takes two people to make a happy relationship, or more, but at least two. In other words, if you're into it and she's not, it's not like, oh, this is so frustrating. If only she were interested. It's like, she's not, though. That's not a relationship.
Yeah.
It's not a relationship.
Who's next?
Who's next? For God's sakes. And not that it doesn't have to be important or you throw away the friendship, but who's next? Great. I put my effort in. Process your disappointment. Grieve. Give yourself time. We're already assuming the talk hasn't worked. I'm sorry. We'll come back to what to actually say. But if it doesn't work, and we're defaulting that way because, oftentimes if you're friends for 10 years, it will sort of naturally sort of move that way. So if there's a friendship and one person wants it, then usually I think it's, at least in my experience, my personal experience, this may not be anybody else's, so please don't, let it color your own experiences. But generally I think, people tend to, say something one way or the other, and it tends to transform.
Well, I think the anxiety comes from being afraid. I'm not used to this. I'm sorry. The anxiety, I feel, comes from being afraid that they're going to say no.
Yes.
That's where it comes from. So that's where we're going. That's
judgment.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine. That's the place we're going to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, so this pretty much, this, all I was going to say before we really get to how we approach the topic is identify all the ways that you're afraid. Look at the situation. Okay. Look at it objectively. All right. Where is there a pattern in this for you? Oh, I'm always afraid to approach women, and now I'm afraid to approach her, even though she's been my friend for a long time, or whatever. Notice the pattern if there is one. Okay, this is your chance to identify that and really to create change in your life. Okay, if you just go through it on autopilot and kind of, cringe and fight through it, okay. But
that hurts more.
That hurts more. It actually does. It actually does hurt more. that is actually that's actually exactly accurate. But more significantly, you just you skate through, but you don't learn anything. In which case, do you know what's going to happen? The way reality works, you will attract someone else into your life, get yourself in the exact same situation again, and have to do it again. Okay, that's just the way human growth works. Okay, you can avoid the learning experiences. That bumper sticker that's like, oh no, not another learning experience. It's one of my favorites. I think the Quakers, I think, would have it a lot. Like, oh no, not another learning experience. But it's true. I mean, yeah, it's painful, but that's the way to get better. And the more you go through it, once you go actually through, that piece is gone. It's never anywhere else. So if you avoid it, it comes back. That's just
with a lot of things, so many things in life.
Yeah.
Avoiding painful things and then having it come up again and again and again. Mm-hmm. Like me taking my anxiety and just hiding it or just holding it in. It doesn't fix anything. It might feel better in the moment, but it's not better for the long term. It hurts.
And meanwhile, it's being pushed in and held in your body, and it then distorts there because it's trying to move out, and you're blocking it, and what that will eventually lead to is illness. That will eventually make you sick.
Yeah.
I focus on singles and dating and attraction, but I could do this exact same work with people who have actual illness, and healing it from the inside out. And that's not my area of expertise, but I have seen it I have seen it done.
Yeah.
To the point where it's something that I know is a thing. So yeah, and even before it gets physically sick, it's gonna create depression, and it's gonna create, because depression is the literal depressing of your emotions. So if you don't let yourself have your emotions, then you're pushing them down, and it literally creates depression. That's how I got out of mine. It was quite remarkable. But if you let it stew there, then things stew and things stew and things stew, and then they become physical. They actually do.
When you're talking about stew, I love food, by the way. So when you're talking about stew and letting, say, stew sit on the stove, and that outside ring that it gets, and it congeals and gets to the outside. If you don't clean that pot out, you don't get those out of there, you're gonna have a nasty looking pot.
Yeah.
It's gonna be filled with stuff that you don't want anymore, and that you don't need.
Yep.
Stew. I'm hungry.
Yeah. It's possible that it might be dinner time. No, but that's super true. You can either wash it right now in 30 seconds, or you can wash it tomorrow morning in 20 minutes.
Or let it sit in the sink
overnight.
Or
you can let it sit for as long as you can, and then throw the pot away.
Yeah. You can't throw the pot away in this scenario.
Yeah,
you are the pot.
This is pot. Yeah, this pot is you. Yeah, that's actually not.
Yeah, no, you can't throw it away. It's yours forever. Yeah.
This is the one relationship that you are guaranteed to have for the rest of your life. You have nothing else to do with your life other than work on it, so you might as well work on it.
Yeah. And even so, with just 3 weeks going through Dominey's class and doing the exercises, so much has changed, and I am so excited to get to the rest. I'm scared. I'm a little scared. It's taught me a lot of things. It's shown me a lot of things that slightly painful. Mm-hmm. Better than feeling that horrible pain later when these issues keep coming up. I've had enough. Yeah. I've had enough of feeling like this. Yeah. So I'm ready. I found her. She found me. That's
a beautiful way of phrasing it. That's exactly what it is. At some point, you're just tired of your own bullshit. And a lot of us are actually there, but we don't have a way out. Yeah. And that's why I started the business that I started. It's like, if you're ready, like I don't go up to anyone and say, oh, you're single. Like, do you need help? There's nothing wrong with being single. Being single is great. If you're tired of your own self-sabotage, and God, let me just tell you about mine. Oh, so many stories. It's like I would identify what I want, which of course I never did. It's over there, and I would just go the other direction. I would just turn and walk the other way.
That looks hard.
That looks hard. I'm not going to do that. And since we're talking about what our real issues are, part of that is because I had a deathly fear I was deathly afraid of getting what I wanted, because of the childhood wounding that I have and how that was kind of shaped. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting, but you mirrored that perfectly. It's a great example of that. At some point, you're just tired of it. It's not worth it anymore. It's the anxiety so bad that it's like, you know what? Fine, I'll face my worst fears, whatever. And then when you do that and you sort of jump off that cliff, you're fine.
It's not that big of a cliff.
Every time. Looks like it is. Mm-hmm. Very scary. Then you kind of head up and go through it, and then there's nothing. That's what happens when you look your fear and your distortions directly in the eyes. We don't want to, because we're always trying to avoid it. Again, we're sort of always cringed and waiting, right? Or bracing against life. It's like life is what it is. You are in that state if you feel that we're speaking to you about the friend zone, for example. Okay, so if you are, if you're in this relationship and you're wanting something, but it's not quite what it is, then you're in that state, right? You're in that state of wanting something and not getting it. So relieve yourself. Face the worst case scenario. Maybe you might lose a friend. That is a real possibility. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it isn't. I am going to tell you that a mature relationship, if you propose it well, right? If you pick a good time, right, which we're going to talk about here in just a minute. You pick a good time, and you talk about yourself. Actually, let's do this now, because I'm listing all these things anyway. So know that there's some risk, right? By suggesting change in a relationship. Okay, so might she react badly? Sure, it's possible, but it doesn't need to go that way. So don't assume that it will. Okay, Let yourself be vulnerable, and just understand that, as we said before, the unknown is a part of life. Okay, it's never. In other words, don't wait for it to feel good. Okay, because naturally humans don't like the unknown, and it doesn't feel good. Okay, it triggers our sort of reptilian, reaction kind of brain, because if there's unknown, there might be danger. Okay, remember, we're only a few thousand years into any kind of recognizable, well, that's not true, I was about to say any recognizable society, any kind of recognizable from what we have now type of society. But before that, millions and millions and millions of years of evolution. Nothing happens evolutionarily in 5,000 years. So when we're here and we're expected to, adjust and be all these ways that we've decided that humans should be, but we're still the same creatures, for all intents and purposes, from millions of years ago. So yes, our brains are like, be careful, there might be, there's danger there. It wants to categorize things. It wants to, that makes it safer. Okay, we're just trying to make ourselves safe. All right, and unfortunately, in the life we live, and especially as adults, those impulses to keep ourselves safe are just not. They hold us back, rather than actually keep us safe, because we're adults, and the conversation we're talking about doesn't actually have anything to do with safety, right? Nobody's approaching you with a knife in an aggressive manner. That would immediately threaten your safety, right? But it feels like it. We have fear, as if someone's attacking us, that we, in broaching this topic. Okay. Does that all make sense?
I think so.
Okay, great. So understand the unknown is just a part of life. There's no point in fighting it. You can choose to fight it if you want to. People do every single day. It is futile. Just so you know. Fun fact. Yeah. Okay, so how actually to broach? So pick a good time. I feel like timing is important. I don't know if you remember the timing of when you guys had your talk. But even just thinking over this, do it when neither of you are rushed or distracted, when you have plenty of time, right? If you're on your way out somewhere, or you're, she's got a lot of stuff going on, it's like, pick a sensible time. Again, have an adult conversation. Do you remember what the situation was when you did yours?
I think we were just hanging out at the apartment, watching TV or something. Yeah, so not much was going on. We could really communicate with each other. I didn't consciously make sure of that, but it happened to be, and it did help. There was no one else coming in, no one else around to talk to him later and maybe distort some of the things. People hear things differently from the way that you actually say them. And it does help, I found, and I think you talked to me about this as well, is just talking to one person, and having someone else there can sometimes introduce other emotions
If it's a conversation like this, it should definitely just between the two of you, for sure.
So it was just us, and it was actually, pretty quick. Yeah. He knew that I wasn't in his zone for relationships, and he was actually very surprised and kind of flattered, I think, that I would come up and ask him, and he said it made him feel good, regardless of how it ended up. He said he felt great.
And how were you afraid before you asked?
Oh, I was terrified.
Okay, so that's a great example. So she's freaked out. She's super scared to have this conversation, and then she kind of braves it, and it ended up turning out way more positively than you were thinking it would. And
I mean, that's all I could do.
And then let go.
It spent, I don't know if you guys remember your middle school crush, but he was mine, and I just had a crush on him. Oh my gosh, for years and years and years. And I wasn't very cool in middle school. So
were people cool in middle school?
There were cool ones, but I wasn't one of them.
People that I thought were cool. Yeah. They probably felt uncool too. I don't know.
So when we grew up a little bit, and in high school, I was like, okay, it's been 5 years. I gotta do it. What am I waiting for? Him to date some other girl, and then I've totally lost my chance. I just did it. and it was rough. Actually, it was more than 5 years. I was driving, so I don't know, 16, 17 years old from, I don't know, 6th grade in middle school.
Okay.
So,
but then you had the talk, and then it didn't go badly.
No. And that's also because he communicated well with me, and he really listened to what I had to say, and he basically said he was very flattered, and he'd love to keep, a friendship, and he still wants to, hang out and spend time, but not in that way.
Yeah. Just didn't want to bone you, huh?
Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
Can't win them all. And that's fine. And there can be lightness and laughter about it. It does not need to be the end of the world. Okay? Seriously. And this is really important. So when you have that time, you're not rushed, you're not distracted, you've got enough, it's a good environment, then broach the topic, right? And broach it gently and speak from your own experience, right? Don't mention any shoulds or, anything about her. Just explain really simply like how you feel. Ask if she might, be interested in exploring something more, and keep it light and easy if you can. Men, once they're like, just practically, okay, nothing about the subconscious or images or how reality works, just simple dating. Men put a lot of pressure on the results of their efforts, okay? And unfortunately, we are at the other end of the results of their efforts. We are, we determine the results of their efforts. And when there's pressure, it's really, if you're in a club, we've discussed this before, if you're in a club and you see a woman that you're attracted to or a man you're attracted to, and you go and you approach that person, first of all, go approach. Yes. Go do it. It's good. It may go badly. It doesn't matter. Practice. Mm-hmm. Practice. And honestly, if you're in a club, shoot, you can drive to a new city if you want to and approach everyone, over across 3 clubs for 2 nights in a row. What difference is it? It doesn't matter. That would just be like, okay, let's just practice it. Nobody knows me here. If I embarrass myself, it's, it's not that big of a deal, whatever. Okay. So, but then if you do that, you ask someone out and they say no, keep your energy up. Okay. And she's not the one for you. She's not the one for you. Okay. In that moment, she might be later. Yeah. She might call you the next day and be like, well, I'm not sure, I was just caught off guard, but actually that sounds really great. Let's do it. An infinite number, this is not just yes or no, an infinite number of responses can come from this, right? So keep your energy up. Keep your energy up,
She could be scared too. Mm-hmm. She could be horrified. She could be terrified to talk or communicate or
horrified by the idea of dating you.
No, probably not. Just it could be terrified, but maybe she has anxiety as well. So you never know.
Remember, projecting onto people, you're assuming that you know what they're feeling. Oh, she's attractive. Oh, she must have people calling up to her all the time. Girl, she don't necessarily have that, And so people assume because everybody looks at her and thinks that everybody else is. You see what I mean? So like, as soon as you assume, you're out of it. You're out of reality, right? So keep your energy up. Okay, so this may not happen. Keep it light and easy. Okay, and so then another way of phrasing that is have 0 expectations when you do this. Okay, and again, it's the same as any other time that you ask someone out. All right, so do you decide beforehand? Okay, do some mental work. This is life. This is your canvas. Okay, so ready yourself. If you were going to a job and you had to start at 9, you'd be there, at whatever 8:57, and you're there and you're organized and you're ready. It's like this is the work. The work is right here. Don't run into it and be like, oh, it's better than sort of facing things, or I'll just sort of go at it in kind of an unconscious way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you sort of really like, I'm just going to do it without thinking. It's like, no, stop, look inward, examine your fear. What's that about? If there's some self-worth stuff in there, I wonder if it doesn't occur to me that she might be interested. That's interesting because it's one of an infinite number of options, isn't it? Of what could happen after you broach this topic. So decide ahead of time, here's what's going on, here's what I'm afraid of, here's this, here's that. Decide that you're going to be happy no matter what the response, and then do that, right? Yeah. Don't take it personally. This is really about not taking it personally. If she says no, that's fine, okay? She's not sexually attracted to you. Sexual attraction is one of a huge number of ways to be attracted to people, okay? There are some people who are incredibly attractive, but not in a sexual way, okay? There are some people who just like drip sexuality, just like all the time. So depending how it's going to go on don't let something, impact you so deeply. And if it does, then take some time to grieve. That's fine. Mm-hmm. You've got really good, you're a great person. You've got other options. She's not the only person in the world, and she's not the only right one for you. And she's not right at all if she's not actually interested. Okay. So, whether or not this is the right relationship for you right now, then
it's not.
Yeah. And if she says no, then it just isn't. And the right woman, i.e. the one who's interested in you in that moment, will feel the same way about you, right? I said that earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to think you don't want to live life passively. And I've been doing that. Mm-hmm. I've been doing that for a long time. Mm-hmm. I let the anxiety take over. And after meeting this one, I'm not doing that anymore. There's so much else. There is so much else, you guys. You can be so much more. When you start opening these doors, clients come in our doors, just a confused mess and having no idea how what they do actually affects their real life. And boy, the connections start getting made, and they start seeing underlying patterns, and and as soon as you see it, it changes. Do you understand? It's like everything that's, the only reason this stuff, you're on autopilot on some level, is because you're not looking at it. It's look atable. Literally everything can be fixed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's truly incredible.
It's very, yeah. And also, be aware of turning inward and blaming yourself also if it doesn't go well. So you're not making her responsible for your happiness, and you're also not blaming yourself to, that's another way of taking it personally, right? What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong. You might be out of alignment with yourself. And again, that's what we're talking about is, so fixable. Mm-hmm. And, it's a funny word to use, like it's fixable, but these problems, we block ourselves in every way and in all these different areas of life. And it just doesn't need to, we don't even know the ways that our life can be better. No anxiety. The voice is gone in my head. It's just quiet in there now.
I have so many ladies.
she calls them the ladies.
So many ladies up here. So many of them. And I'd like it to be quiet. I'd really like it to be quiet up there.
It is nice when it's quiet. Yep. I just let go of all the story, all of the shoulds, and and this is, I've done this for a while, but it's possible. It is more than possible. And if you're drawn to working with me, I tend to, the people who tend to be drawn to working with me tend to want to accelerate the process. Like they don't want to spend 10 years meditating. They want to live life, while they're their age now. Mm-hmm. So
now, let's fix this now.
Yeah, let's fix this now. I love it.
That's why I'm here.
The new name for the radio show. All right, well, that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Caitlin.
Oh, thank you for having me.
For joining us today, and welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Nailed it. All right, thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you next week. See ya.